Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Shots on Target podcast. My name is Phil, joined by my man Jakey as always.
What's up, guys?
So this week's going to be a little bit different. We are doing a Manchester United special, and we are joined today by our mate Jordan, who is a United fan. Hello, Jordan.
Hello.
So, as I said, this is going to be a Manchester United special. We're going to be talking with Jordan about his club in general. We've got some talking points for him, some deep questions about the club, and we're looking to hear his honest opinion about everything. And I've also got some Manchester United trivia at the end for him, so that will be fun. So we will get straight into it.
Right, so we'll get into the first talking points of the episode, and it's going to be about the Sancho incident, everything that's gone on with Ten Hag, banishing him from the club, stopping him from training, all of that good jazz. What's your opinion on it, Jord?
From what I've read and what I understand, Sancho is being a bit of a baby. Ten Hag's slammed on him like he does with every player that decides they want to do something wrong, and Sancho has babied and played victim by the sounds of it, refusing to apologise.
So what is the whole incident? Because all I know is he's turned up late to training a few times,
Which is what he does.
He insulted Ten Hag or said something about Ten Hag.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he said. I said before we started, I haven't really kept up fully with it. But I know there's been a disagreement between the two. The same way there was a disagreement with Ronaldo, the same way there was a disagreement with a fair other players. The majority of the time, though, the other players have turned around and gone, right, well, I apologise, moved on. Other than Ronaldo.
Yeah, he was just shipped off to Saudi.
Yeah, see you later. But
Yeah, pretty much.
Sancho's refusing to apologise. Eric is standing his ground. I mean, shit.
Do you agree with the one thing I have seen is Sancho says essentially that he feels scapegoated by Ten Hag.
I feel like that's the common thing for most players to say when they're in the dirt, though. The first thing they turn around and just they play victim. It's what they do. Ronaldo played victim.
Yeah, also sorry. It is very weird though for a manager to come out and blast a player on in a press conference though. Like, it just seemed a bit odd to me. Like, does Ten Hag really dislike Sancho like that? Do you think there's already a rift caused there, or?
I don't think it's sort of a dislike. I wouldn't say it's a dislike. I think he just put a player on blast for not performing as well as he should do. When you have a player like Jadon Sancho who came from Dortmund for the price that he did, you would expect a level of professionalism. If you're a professional footballer, the bare minimum you can do is turn up to training on time, right? Like you're on more money than most people could dream of weekly, and you can't even turn up to training on time. That's disrespectful. Not only to the manager, to the club itself, not only to the club itself, to every other player around him, because you're a team.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't turn up to training on time, that's disrespectful to everyone else that turns up on time. Like, we were told years ago, the reason Ronaldo was as good as he was, right, is because he every day he'd be an hour and a half early to train, and he would just sit there and take free kicks. He'd just sit there and take shots. He'd just dribble by himself. He'll do his own little thing to get better. That's because he wanted to win. So for a manager to say, oh, you can't even be asked to turn up to training on time, is like, do you actually do you care? Which, I mean, I think if I was in the same position, I'd put him on blast as well. Like, we're trying to win. We're coming back.
I understand that. Carry on.
I mean, we're coming back from a position where we are crap. Like, as far as when you look at the United badge, right? We win. It's what we did. We did for years, and I mean, from what, like, we were the most successful club in the world at one point. Well, not quite, but up there. Yeah. So when you get given a job like Ten Hag has, you got all the pressure behind him that Ten Hag has, because he was expected to come in and we were supposed to start winning again, which we did. I mean, yeah, Carabao Cup, whatever, third in the league, Champions League football again. We're off for a season again. It's improvements. And then for a player to not be asked, I don't blame him at all for putting a player on blast. I really don't blame him, especially when we've got people like Garnacho, all these like youth that are coming in, like Forsen. I think he's incredible. Like fucking Palistri, again incredible. All these kids that are coming through that are putting their time in, they're turning up to training on time to try and get in the first team. Yet somebody that came from millions and with loads of expectation can't even have to turn up on time. That's a bad example. I'd blast him as well, 100%.
I agree with you to an extent. I just think some things are better left away from social media, because I think all it did was people, when a team's doing bad, the media are just looking for the slightest thing to start a shitstorm. And Ten Hag gave it to him with saying that about Sancho, because then Sancho comes out obviously and says no, that's complete bollocks on Twitter, etc. And this is where it all starts. I just think if it's kept in house, I think it's just better for everyone around the club, because all it does is just put a bad look on Manchester United, like not just Sancho but Ten Hag as well, because there's going to be people that believe Sancho, there's going to be people that believe Ten Hag. Yeah. So I just think sometimes it's better just kept, because there's obviously always going to be disputes from a manager and a player. Like there's players sitting on the bench that are earning millions and want to play football. Do you know what I mean? You see it at plenty of different clubs, and managers, they just keep it in house. And I think it's just best for the club, but that's my personal opinion on that.
I mean, if you look back a couple of weeks ago when Pep came on the pitch and started screaming at Haaland at half time, and he started having a go at him on the way back into the tunnel, people judged Pep for that. People had to go at Pep for that because it's in public. But the reality of it is, it's the best way to put somebody on blast. In my opinion, it is. Because, I mean, really, if you really think about it, how long has this Sancho thing been going on for? We don't know. We know from the last, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, how bad it really is, because he's not getting played. It finally came out, and then Ten Hag did that, and blah, 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 whatever. But this could have been going on for months. And Ten Hag's turned around and gone, right, do you know what? You. And blasted him.
Yeah.
Because nothing was changing. And apparently, from my understanding, all Jadon Sancho needs to do is apologise and start actually being a professional. That's not hard to do.
No.
Well, unless he feels that what he's done is not in the wrong and what Ten Hag done is uncalled for, then realistically, no one's ever going to apologise. People.
Yeah, but again, the reality of it is, if you're turning up to training late, have you got a valid excuse why you're turning up to training late? And if you've not, then why are you? You're a professional footballer. It's what you do. It's the only thing you do.
And this is what frustrates me about things like this, because you get like a sliver of the story from people in our situation, from the media, and these are the questions that I think would be best answered. Like, why doesn't Ten Hag or Sancho come out and say, I put him on blast because he's late for training, and these are the reasons why, do you know what I mean, etc., etc. It's all just rumour mill at this point, and you have to make up your own mind on what the situation is, and it just causes confusion.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I can see it. I don't know, Jadon, for some reason, to me, I love Jadon. I've sat here in Discord with Jake plenty of times and praised Jadon for how good he can be, how much potential he's got.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating to see someone like this just get shit on, essentially. Because he is young. He's not like he's old. He's 23 years old. He came to us at 21.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's not like past his career. He's not like anywhere near past his prime yet. The guy still has so much untapped potential. But if you're, again, someone like Ten Hag with his vision, I will say he's probably like his vision wise, because he clearly understands the game of football. If he's seeing Jadon be lazy, then I can only imagine how much it's infuriating him, with the added pressure of trying to win in the first place. Yeah, okay. And the reality of it is, someone like Jadon isn't going to turn around and go, yeah, my bad, I apologise. He's not going to do that publicly.
No.
He's a footballer.
No
They all have some level of delusional ego. It's the way football works. It's very rare that you will find a player that will make a mistake and openly admit to that mistake.
Yeah.
Look at Harry Maguire, for fuck's sake. But, do you get what I mean? Like, he's complaining about not having game time, yet every time he has a game, he's making mistakes, making big mistakes. But
yeah.
The only reason he still thinks he should start is because he started for England.
Yeah, he's delusional. Anyway.
That's a whole different conversation in itself.
I think Sancho needs to apologise. I think he needs to become a professional again. If this is a problem, he either needs to leave or become a professional again. And I fully stand by Ten Hag for absolutely ripping into him. 100%.
Do you think he does leave?
I don't know how this story goes, mate. I don't think anyone could tell you how this story goes. I hope
It's a
he
weird
doesn't.
one. I think if it's not sorted out in the next couple of months, the January transfer window will be where he seeks an out.
I
For
think
sure.
this will be sorted in the next couple of days. I don't think it'll be months. I think he'll be sat on the back. It'll be sat in the back lines until January, and it'll be sold. There will be no if,
Yeah.
buts, or maybes. The deal will probably be done before January. The reality of it is, with the way clubs work these days, it'll be done before January. I guarantee the second day, third day into the transfer window, he's gone.
Yeah.
They won't keep him because there's no purpose for him. Again, we have talent on the sidelines that are in youth that deserve to play. So why are we going to keep Jaden when he's still worth money? He won't be worth the money we paid for him, but I still think he's a 40-50 million pound player.
Oh, I agree.
So get rid of him.
I agree. You can tell the talent's there because that's the thing. The Manchester United move was meant to just be a stepping stone for him. At that point, he was killing it for Dortmund. He was just about to break into the England team. He'd signed for Manchester United for big money, and it just hasn't worked out for one reason or another.
There's been moments with Jaden. I've said this to Jake before. There's been specific moments, like specific games, like when we were getting I think it was either last year or the year before. We were getting absolutely battered by Liverpool, right? Score wasn't bad. It was like, I think it was 3-0 Liverpool. Liverpool were up, maybe a little bit less.
I think that might have been the 5-0 from
Yeah, and
season before last.
Jaden came on at half time, and he was the only player on the pitch that was worth anything. The ball he was playing that day impressed the life out of everyone. We lost big at that game, but he was the only person that was like, hold on a minute, right? Is he here? Is this him? Finally, the guy we seen at Dortmund that was setting up Haaland for 23 goals a season.
Yeah.
Like he had that season was mad. He had 25 goals, 23 assists, something mental. Like his stats were ridiculous. Obviously, with the benefit of having Haaland in the 6-yard box. I mean, shit, I think I could go for 15 assists a season, but like the guy showed promise when we beat Liverpool last year. He absolutely sent Milner to the Chinese, mate. Beautiful composure in the 18. I was like, Jesus, where's this come from? And then
I think it's maybe then just a case of inconsistency rather than
nah, because it's
than
not even,
being...
you can't consider it inconsistency when it's once in a million, mate. It's once in every 15, 20 games. You'll see that version of Jaden, you're like, holy shit. It's like,
Well, this brings me on to my next question, Jordan. Do you think Sancho hasn't hit the heights because he wasn't a Ten Hag signing? He was a Solskjaer signing. Do you think it's a clash of styles?
no. I think
No?
I think he's got the ability to adapt to any situation. He's a winger. Wingers.
But do you think it's a case of he doesn't want to adapt? He might be able to, but do you think it's a case of he just doesn't like Ten Hag ball, for example, and it's just a clash complete?
I don't see why he wouldn't like Ten Hag ball. Because he plays total football, right? I mean, from my understanding, Jaden doesn't. I mean, he played preseason at striker.
Yeah.
So and he seemed to fit in that role very well. So why would he have a problem? It's not
I
like
just think it's an interesting situation because you've seen it a lot of times where a manager's made a big signing, it hasn't worked out for the manager, a new manager comes in and that big money signing just gets faded away, and before you know it, they're being sold for a quarter of what they bought for.
I think as far as that's concerned, the only person that's been like that is Ronaldo for Ten Hag. I don't think Sancho's a problem in that sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ronaldo couldn't play Ten Hag ball. He's 38.
37, 38.
Yeah, like it was never gonna happen. But
Yeah.
as far as Sancho's concerned, as long as he's fitness, he's fine. Which, from my understanding, was a problem at the start. Was towards the end of last year. That was the problem. Coming into this year, he fully focused on training because he went off to, where did he go? He went to the Netherlands or something to start training by himself when all the media was on his ass. And he came back and his fitness was fine. That's when he started to show a little bit of promise again. And then all of a sudden, he played the entirety of preseason at striker because, well, Martial was injured and we didn't have Rasmus yet. He was just the only thing we really had. Obviously,
Yeah.
Rashford needed his break. But I don't see Ten Hag football being the problem for Sancho. I think it's his attitude.
Yeah, I think ultimately his Manchester United career relies now down to Sancho, what Sancho does next.
He just simply needs to apologise. Just apologise and move on for it. It doesn't matter how much of an ego bruise it is. Just apologise, move on. He's good enough. He always has
Even
been
if he
good
just
enough.
apologises for the sake of however long till.
I don't think he even
January.
needs to. I don't think he even needs to apologise like towards the media, like in the
No,
media
not a
spotlight,
chance.
just
Just
apologise behind closed doors. Yeah.
Turn up to training, go into his office and go, do you know what? I'm sorry. And then move on from it, because I guarantee Ten Hag would. I think he would. I don't see why not. He doesn't seem like the type of person that's going to hold it against him. He didn't hold it against Ronaldo when Ronaldo was being a fucking knob. Do you know what I mean? So, he doesn't seem like the type of person to really hold grudges like that. I mean, do I see Jadon in the starting 11? No. But he's a valuable asset on the bench. He's a squad depth for now.
He is, but I don't know. It's just a weird one saying Sancho's a bench warmer. Like
He should never
And
be
he's
a
been-
bench warmer, Phil. I'm not going to lie.
he shouldn't. He shouldn't. And he's been a bench warmer his whole time at United.
Because he's simply not been good enough.
Oh, I get that. I do get that. And it is hard to push out players like your Rashford, for example, when they're playing so well. Like last season, Rashford had one of his seasons, like, of his career.
That was incredible, mate.
Yeah, and it's difficult. But I understand completely where you're coming from, and I do think that Sancho just needs to swallow a bit of pride here and apologise.
Say sorry, that's it.
But if not, and because that's the thing, Sancho might just think of fuck Ten Hag, I'm out in January, and he might just be twiddling his thumbs till January.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them two. It's one of them 2-second conversations, isn't it? You either apologise or you say, right, I'm going, and that's it. You just decide. Don't leave it in the door and start being one of them like annoyances, if that makes sense. Like
exactly, it would be better for Manchester United as a whole to just get it all out of the way now.
We have too many problems at the moment for Sancho to start doing this crap. That's my issue.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Way too many.
Well,
problems.
I've asked everything I want to ask. Jake, anything more?
No, I think we've covered everything regarding Jadon Sancho.
Jord, anything?
No, that's it.
All right, well, that's going to be it, guys, for segment 1.
All right, and we're back for segment 2, and this segment is going to be all about the Mason Greenwood incident and how the club handled it.
And you knew this was coming.
You knew it was coming. The second a United special was coming up, but Jord, I'll let you take it away. How do you think it was handled?
Piss poor.
Please elaborate.
The whole situation should have been handled within 24 hours, in my opinion. As plain and simple as it is. The moment that video got released, like the audio wasn't quite a video.
The audio and pictures.
That T-shirt should have been stripped off his chest. He should never wear that badge again. Never should it be a question again. He should never have an association with a club. Get rid of him. See you later. Doesn't matter what comes afterwards. I don't care where he came from, where he grew up, what program he came through. Get rid. See you later. Done. End of story. It's that simple for me. I think.
What do you think about it only being a loan after it was?
I think it's
mutually
crazy.
agreed that he was going to have his contract terminated.
It's crazy to me. I get it in a sense of United are trying to be this like family thing, right? I guess where like we're going to support our players no matter what happens. I get it. So we're trying to send him off somewhere to reboot, like what is it? Like reboot his career.
Restart
like a reset. The reality of it is, it's never going to get reset. For example, the best example I've got, right, and I know this might sound really stupid because it's on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, but Kurt Zouma kicking his cat, right? This guy gets terrorised, still to this day.
Still
About can confirm.
This whole situation. Now that is, on the scale of Mason Greenwood and that, don't get me wrong, they're both very bad, right? But on scales, one of them's the complete opposite end of the spectrum, right? As one of them is a sex offender.
Yeah.
This motherfucker needs to just go away. Go away. Get away from the shirt. Fuck alone. Anything else? They should have paid him off. See ya. Gone. Sign him out of his contract. Gone. Bye.
Let me ask you this, George. So what do you feel about when it came out that Manchester United were putting it to a vote, not just with the first team players, but also with the women's side of things as well?
I don't understand the whole... Why would it even be a vote? Especially with the women's team. Like, come on now.
Surely they know which way the women are going to vote in this situation.
Yeah, because the women are going to say, right, do you know what? We know what you did. We listened to the video, but do you know what? We think you're a nice guy. Like, are you stupid? Seriously. The women were going to slam on him. The men are going to sit there and go, oh, I don't know, I don't really care. That's pretty much what they do anyway, because the reality is they don't really care. They want to win, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the women are going to feel a hell of a lot stronger because of what he did, I guess. To some extent. Obviously, the men are going to care, right? But The women are going to
Do you
feel a hell
feel
of a
it's
lot
a
more
bit of
stronger.
do you feel it's a bit of a cop out to try to deflect responsibility from them just sitting down and saying like, look, we're gonna make this choice. He's not coming back, or he is coming back.
I think the scariest part to me about this whole Mason Greenwood, and not obviously to bring up the Anthony situation as well, because they're quite similar, right? There's been this news recently that the United medical staff visited Anthony's girlfriend after said incident and were apparently treating her for something. We don't know what. We ain't going to know what, because the reality is
Yeah, we don't know the truth.
there's way too much money involved in that situation for the public to know. But how deep does this situation go with Greenwood? Was it just as simple as that video and that was it, or how deep does this go within the club? How much are they hiding? Because if we were to find out that they are genuinely hiding this kind of stuff from us for a period of how bad is that's bad. Like even as a
that's
fan,
like club ruining bad.
even as a fan, I can sit there and say if I found out that that was the situation, I could no longer support this team due to moral reasons. Like my moral reasons, I could not support this club because that is atrocious.
They are treading a fine line.
Very, very fine line.
The thing that gets me is with the whole situation, obviously, you put it into perspective, right? Yeah, for people that don't know football as a whole like we do, right? They'll see it as black and white. So it came out, the whole video, etc. Mason Greenwood was charged. The charges were then dropped. So in terms of like the legal system, he's not guilty. But obviously we've all listened to it and we all make our own presumptions, etc. Obviously Manchester United dealt with it appallingly and took no responsibility in the situation at all. They basically, in a sense, they
palmed it off.
They left Greenwood out to dry, in a sense. But the question I've got to ask you, Georgia, is, so even though in black and white he was found not guilty because obviously the charges were dropped, does that not change anything for you at all?
No. Because, so even from a person that doesn't understand football, right? The justice system is flawed. Everybody knows this. Mason Greenwood has a lot of backing, he has a lot of money, he has a lot of influence, right? The reality of it is, he's going to get away with stuff that your normal individual couldn't. That's celebrity status is what happens. It's happened through everything from acting, sports, everything. It's happened everywhere, right? People have got away with stuff that they definitely shouldn't have got away with. Mason Greenwood is a very big example of that. I think the pressure got too much for his girlfriend. She was having a kid with him. The reality of it is, she's going to drop all charges because she has no other fucking choice. What choice does she have to carry on going through with it and be like, well, now I'm fucked. I'm hated by everybody because I've ruined what at the time, as far as Mason Greenwood is as a footballer, not as a person, he's brilliant. He was.
Yeah.
For that's sort of period where he came up and played for a relatively like a year or so, he was class. So and especially in a situation where United are struggling, right? So United were struggling for simple things like goal scorers and blah 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 blah. Mason was a bit of a shining light within that. So United fans are going to have that issue. At the same.
I think that was that was the biggest thing when it first came out. When I first saw it, I expected literally 100% the majority to be like, what a creep, disgrace. But you look at some of the comments and it was actually around 50-50. Obviously, a lot of it was, let's be honest, delusional United fans just wanting the player to fucking be fine and return.
Yeah.
But a lot of them was just like, oh, the girl should have taken it more and all this and that crap. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is just sex as a whole. Do you know what I mean? It happens. They're just having fun. Like, no, it's black and white.
It's
like,
so
it's not like there's a fine line. There's not like a fine line between sexual assault.
The thing is, the Anthony situation is a bit of a sticky one, right? Because essentially we have no proof. There's no.
Also, there's no footage.
There's no footage. There's none of that.
No
but there was a fucking video. A video of what he said. And even though it was what, like 40 seconds long, maybe a minute. That minute.
It's a very incriminating.
Was
minute.
like, right, well, listen, mate, I'm not being funny. What was you saying that for then? Because I'm pretty sure your missus didn't sound like she was enjoying it. There is no.
The biggest thing in that video, sorry to cut you off, George, is you literally hear her say no. That is literally black and white. As soon as you hear that, there should be no question mark about Greenwood as a person. He's a disgrace. End of.
He literally says she says no, and he goes, "I don't fucking care." In the video.
Yeah.
Brother, are you listening to the same video I am?
There's no coming back from that.
At that point, you get stripped of any little bit reputation you had, and like you said, right, United left him out to dry. Not enough. Not enough.
Yeah.
We should have let the man burn. End of story. That's just the way I think about it. That's it. It's too severe. It's too severe. And even from a business perspective, it tarnished a bit of our brand. The reality of it was, that's the way it is now. I'm not being funny with everything else that's going on as well. For the last 12 months, all I've heard is my club get absolutely dragged through the dirt. And for someone like him, he's a problem. Most businesses, when you have a problem, what do? You cut it out. Why didn't we just get rid of it? Let him go fend for himself.
I think it must be tough for some, especially the older generation United fans that have seen it, because obviously they've watched United where everything's been rosy, everything's been great, social media wasn't a huge thing back then, so nothing got broadcast, and now they're just seeing every week it's something different about United, whether it be Maguire, Greenwood, Anthony, Ten Hag, Sancho. There's always something like just bad about United in social media, and it's very easy for the media to make that a priority at the minute.
I think Jake will agree with me in a sense of we're a lot like Liverpool. People like to hate on us. It's the way it is. I'm sorry, the way football works at the moment, if United get shit on, if Liverpool get shit on, maybe even Arsenal if you want to include them, the first thing that happens is the media will absolutely rip the living crap out of us. And they will roast everybody. There's no like, when you watch City lose, for example, it's like, oh my god, City have lost. When United lose, it's like, well, Harry Maguire's shite, Jadon's playing like they just slam us.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole Salah, Van Dijk, Trent, poor Trent, man, has had it for, like, it's the same principle, right?
He had it for like 2 seasons on and off.
Trent could literally, he could start a game, get a 36-yard ball into the box and just put it pinpoint Salah's feet. Salah would score. He'd still get the shit ripped out of him for the fact that he can't defend.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that comes down to the history? Do you think it's just because of your like glorious history? Because let's be honest, between you both, you hold a lot of the English honours between the two clubs. Do you think that's what it comes down to?
Of course it is.
I think it's easy pickings for the media to go after what are two of the most successful clubs in England, and when the media see what's happened at United, it's like a vulture looking at a dying animal.
Yeah.
It's just easy pickings. You can go after so much with United. I even remember seeing, what was it on Twitter, they invited back a coach to watch a game, I think it was in the FA Cup, who was a known registered sex offender for crimes that he committed as a coach. And the club didn't even think to do a background check, and the media picked up on that like fucking just as quick as that. As soon as it happened, they were on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's many clubs in the world where you'll probably get that same level of almost like media bias, but not in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, away from the media side of things as well, I have a lot to blame the Glaciers and a lot of the back staff at United for this situation.
We'll get to
because
that.
the reality of it is, as a owner of a business, you're supposed to look after the business. And as much of a club as it is, and as much as people see it as a family, I think it's a business. That's what United is. That's what every football club in the world is. It's a business.
Mm-hmm.
You need somebody at the helm that is going to control the business. The Glaciers don't care. Because let's say, for example, I don't give a shit how much money's involved, alright? You're talking, I can't even imagine how much the Glaciers earn in a year. So
More than I'll ever see.
The reality of it is, Mason Greenwood was tarnishing the brand, was he not?
100%.
After the whole Ronaldo situation as well, for this, it was like, oh my god, right, this is getting ridiculous. Because again, United were getting slammed again. As part of the Glacier family, surely someone would have turned around and gone, right, let's just cut the tumour out. Get rid of him. Just dump him as hard as we can and get as far away from this situation as humanly possible. And that has to come from the highest of chain of command, which is the Glaciers.
Mm-hmm.
It has to.
Yeah.
Ten Hag couldn't do nothing about it. None of the management could have done anything about it.
wanted to bring him back.
Yeah, but again, I don't understand that neither. Ten Hag's there to win, yeah? So if you're going to get given, in this situation, right, for me, it's like, if you're going to get given this opportunity to play somebody that is better in a position that we don't really have at the moment, right? So we had Anthony, who wasn't performing very well, who's just a Beyblade. Before that, we didn't even have anyone, right? We had Jadon, who again was performing like crap. he had the opportunity to bring Greenwood in. If you have that opportunity to somewhat take the golden ticket, you're going to take the ticket, are you not? Because if he's not going to get rid of him, then you might as well use him.
In a sense, yeah.
I mean, I
No, I
understand.
do
I
get
understand
that.
the principle behind the fact that Eric Ten Hag should have stood his ground, but at the same time, he's trying to win, man. Like, there's only so much authority he has. When the people at the helm, the people that run the business, should have dealt with it properly. And in my opinion, the only proper way to do that was to hear that video and turn around and go, right, he is completely cut from everything. See ya.
Yeah.
Go fend for
Yeah.
yourself. We're not going to give you any. We'll pay you off your contract because obviously he was contracted for another 3 years, 2 years. 2020.
Something
I think
like
it's
that, yeah.
2025 or 26. He's contracted till.
I think so.
Then right, pay the rest of his contract. Get him gone. See ya. That is. It's as simple as that. There's no if, but,
Yeah.
maybe. Get rid. He should never ever wear that shirt again. Because if
I
he
completely
does,
agree.
there is going to be a serious uproar from probably not even the mass amount of fans. That's the sad part, in my opinion. But for fans that are probably on my level and realise how shit this club is at the moment and have some sort of realistic value on the club, he should never wear that shirt again. It's disrespectful.
I've
End
got
of
to be
story.
honest, as a neutral in this situation, being a West Ham fan, like, I was actually kind of hoping just from a wondering standpoint, like, because obviously there was talk about he could even start the Premier League season for Manchester United. I would have loved just to have seen what the hell that stadium would have been like if he'd have walked out in a United shirt.
Oh, it would have been toxic.
It would have been
I think-
something that you've never seen before, I think.
I think people underestimate the power of United fan. I think
As in,
we love our club. That is Old Trafford. The same with a few other stadiums in the Premier League. Is one of the hardest stadiums to play at because of what we do. It's a passion pit. We love it, right? Well, I'd say 90% of the people that go there, because obviously you've got your people that go there because they can afford a VIP box, right? Same as anywhere else. But the true fan, the true United fan, the true Mank would have absolutely ripped the living crap out. I guarantee he probably wouldn't even step on foot on the pitch. It wouldn't have surprised me.
I think
if
there would have been a big security problem.
there would have been a very,
that
very
people-
big
Big
security
time.
problem. He would have
Big
got ripped
time.
apart.
big time. There'd have been people trying to get on the pitch to get their hands on Greenwood.
100%. There would have been people who would rip his throw out. I 100% guarantee that. There would have been a big security problem.
I mean, you guys protested against the Glazers. Imagine if Greenwood would have been, they'd have been told
Yeah,
Greenwood was playing.
exactly.
That would have been the biggest protest you'd ever see.
I don't think it.
Probably should have ripped
I
the
don't think they
stadium
would have played
apart.
for the 90 minutes. I can guarantee the pitch would have been invaded. It would not have happened. I refuse to believe
Yeah.
it would have happened. No United fans are going to sit back and watch that shirt go back onto that pitch again. No. Not unless you're
And I do,
absolutely
I do
delusional.
respect that, and I do respect that because I'd hope that would be the same for every other club, but apparently in Getafe it's a completely different story. So
Yeah. I mean, the reality of it is they're a club that are much smaller.
oh yeah, obviously they're
And-
buzzing to have a player like Greenwood, but
That's exactly what I
still,
mean, though. Like, as I said before, as a player, as only a player, not as a person in any way, shape, or form, he's a brilliant player. He's a brilliant footballer. Brilliant
he
footballer.
was. We don't know. We don't know what he's like now because he spent a lot of time
yeah,
out
of course.
away
But
from
I mean, the
football.
reality of it is, it's only a matter of time before he gets back into it. I mean,
Possibly.
yeah.
it's,
Depending on his mental health would have taken a big hit here as
well,
well.
he deserves it. Of that.
Of course he does. Of course he does. Of course he does.
He doesn't deserve to come back. He doesn't deserve to be. He doesn't deserve to be in a football shirt. End of story.
I agree. I don't think he'll ever play in the Premier League again. No shot.
The reality of it is,
Not a
I
topic.
can't mention the Gaddafi situation because the reality of it is, I don't know anything about the club. I
That's-
don't understand it. I don't know what their culture's like. I don't know how they genuinely feel on the situation. I don't even know if they've watched the video, to be quite honest, because I don't know why you'd even spend money on him. But
Yeah, well, this is it.
for me, if he ever steps foot in a United shirt again, there will be a big problem. And I can't support a club that supports somebody like that. I know that, and that's heartbreaking because I love my team. I always have. I grew up with a season ticket for 10 years. I love my football club, and it's a struggle to support something when they support something like this. So
Okay.
yeah.
Anything else, Jakey?
Yeah. No, I think we covered everything there.
You all Greenwood out, Jord?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it for segment 2, guys. Stick around for segment 3.
And on to the third and final proper segment of the video, disregarding the questions will get asked at the end.
Proper topic.
We're touching on the Glazers. Jordan, I'm just going to let you take the floor.
Might be better if you actually ask me questions, because otherwise I'm going to go on a 20-minute power rant.
All right, well, let's go with a nice simple one for you, Jord. What do you think the biggest problem is with the Glazers?
They won't sell. Just get rid of us, please. I'm begging. Like, people are having a go at Ten Hag for the transfer window we had, right? 60 million on Mount. Didn't really sign anybody else. Kind of crap, right? Got rid of a few of the little ferrets that were living off us. Phil Jones.
Phil Jones.
But yeah, I mean, the people are having a go because of how much we spent, right, and the quality we spent on. Yeah. Now, from my understanding, the way the transfer window works is we were given a budget at the start, right, which every club gets. They get given a budget.
Yeah.
Our first signing was the new number 7 of Mason Mount, which number 7's a push, but okay. Anyway.
Question marks.
Yep, 7. We're gonna give him 7. Yeah. Right. Anyway, 60 million, 65 million, I think it was. Maybe a little bit more a push, right?
Yep.
Okay. Not horrible. Ten Hag, I believed in him. So I mentioned this to Jake. I have faith in the fact that he's signed Mason Mount, who can be a quality player. He's proved it for England and Chelsea. Had a bit of a rough patch, but potential, right? And if anyone can bring it out of him, Ten Hag can.
He's had glimpses, yeah.
And then we couldn't buy Kane because didn't have the funds, right? And then there's other players that we tried to sign. Obviously, De Jong, a couple of others. Turned around and said we didn't have the budget. And then the Glaciers decided they wanted to trickle the budget in, right? Now, if we were given the amount we spent during that transfer window was a joke, right? It was a lot of money we spent in the total. In the end, I think we were the second behind Chelsea. If not, we were first for how much we spent in that transfer window. The issue is,
I think he was second.
The Glaciers, they give us the money in segments instead of just giving it us as a brick, right? Now, if we could have gone and full-out attack on Harry Kane, right, in my opinion, which was probably the sole purpose of what we needed to buy, we needed a striker, a finisher. That's what we needed.
Correct.
We had Rashford played up front, which is not his natural position, as I'm hoping most people know.
I agree.
So we would have been able to go, right, 110 million Harry Kane. We probably would have got him. At that moment in time, at the start of the transfer window, we probably would have got him, because I don't think Bayern had showed any interest yet. And then we tried to lowball.
I disagree on him coming to United. I don't think Spurs would have sold to a direct rival.
Anybody would sell anybody for the right amount of money.
For the right amount of money, yeah, Spurs would, especially Levy, he would have sold.
There was a very few amount of teams that could afford him and his wage. United is one of them.
Yeah.
Bayern is another one. That's about it, other than your Madrid, your Barcelonas, who weren't really asked. Madrid were too busy trying to sign Jude, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they trickled money in. And the signings weren't great. They weren't. Went out, like, what's that Bayern, the Bayern centre-back they just signed from Napoli?
Kim Min-jae.
Went after him, couldn't sign him. Not enough money. Osman, couldn't sign him, not enough money. But if you would have calculated from the end of the transfer window to the start of the transfer window how much money we actually spent, we could have gone after all three. Which is crazy. They fucked us. They fucked us back. They fucked us. That's the way it was. And then everyone gets having a go at Ten Hag because of his signings. And I'm like, well, if they were given the actual budget, not the budget they were given within the first, they don't want to spend. That's my point. They don't want to spend. But not only do they not want to spend, they don't want to sell. So we're in this like grey area of where nobody has any idea what the is going on. Because can either of you turn around and say to me right now, right, we're gonna get sold? If not, are we not gonna get sold? Can you answer that quick? Can you pick one of those? Because I don't know.
Question real quick.
Not a clue.
So you know how you say your budget would trickle down in segments, so it was like giving us not a bulk.
Yes.
Do you think that's maybe down to the owners seeing how he spent the last budget?
No.
Mainly it being 90-odd million on Anthony.
No.
And them thinking, right, so you Do you think the club trusts him in his ability to pick out players that he wants?
Well, why is he still at the club if they don't?
Well,
You could say that about every other manager that's been there, though.
Exactly.
There has been a pattern with the Glazers, though. Mourinho came out and said he didn't get the signings he wanted. Solskjaer came out and said it as well. He didn't get the players he wanted, and he just gave up in the end.
It's like it continuously happens, and I wonder why that is.
They
don't want to spend the fucking money. Because you've got to think, even back, I know Jake disagrees because we had a lot of big signings at the time. We had a lot of big signings at the time, which was like Van Persie, Rooney was still not, like, if you consider inflation, they were still expensive players. But Sir Alex made the best out of players that weren't great. Wes Brown, Phil Jones, plenty of others, right?
Yeah.
They weren't the best. They weren't big signings. They just kind of were there, right? And we still won the league and stuff like that. And they I'm convinced they still have this like mindset of he could do it without
a shoestring budget.
Yeah, you're gonna give him the bare minimum instead of actually giving him the money that he needs. Yeah, we're 600 million in debt and they've took $1 billion out of the club in the last 10 years. Anyway. Glaciers, they're bad people. Yeah. We're not going to get any better until they're gone. We will be stuck in the same place, 6th, 5th, 4th, potentially a 3rd, until they are gone. I don't know who I want us to buy yet. I don't know if I want... It's Radcliffe, isn't it? Him?
Radcliffe
or the Saudis. I mean, the Saudis will dump a shit ton of money in, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, do I want another owner
it's
that's
the
going to
moral aspect,
do I want an owner that's going to sit there in the background and just start dumping money into the club, or do I want an owner that's actually going to take a bit of charge? So at situations like the Greenwood situation that we were talking about earlier, will it be handled a bit differently? Because I guarantee the Saudis would have handled it the exact same. Do you know what? You guys deal with it. We own the club. See you later.
Yeah.
I just don't agree with the ownership at all. I think that there's a lot of issues with them, with the way they handled the Greenwood situation, with the transfer window, the fact that they continuously change their fucking mind on how much they actually want for this club, because it started off at 4.8 billion. They wanted 4.8, then they wanted 5.6, and now they want, then they wanted 6, and then they wanted 6.5, and I swear they've evaluated it now at 6.8. So when is this going to end? Like, how hungry are you? Because you're still making 1,000% profit on what you pay for the club.
Yeah.
So why are you still here? Because you clearly don't care. I mean, I don't think any United fan will sit there and go, oh, the Glaciers really do care about this football, because they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. So, I don't know, man.
Mate, I completely understand where you're coming from. So let me ask you this, George. In terms of the middle management of the club, right? So obviously the Glazers is the top hierarchy, right? And you obviously have people below them, and then it goes obviously to Ten Hag, etc. Where do you think... do you think there's anyone at the club that can stand up to the Glazers?
No.
In a sense of you're fucking our club, basically.
The thing is, in history, anyone that's actually stood up to the Glaciers has disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
The last person to do it was Ronaldo. He openly admitted the ownership is shit. And then what we decided to do after that was absolutely smack him into the dirt. But Ronaldo was right. Yeah. Okay, so in some situations he wasn't quite right. That Piers Morgan interview was a questionable situation. But as far as the ownership's concerned, yeah, 100%. I don't think there's anybody that can stand up to the Glaciers. They have way too much power. Way too much. They will just get rid of them. They don't care.
It's kind of like obviously it's different to Manchester United, but it's kind of like the Todd Bowley situation at Chelsea, just running the club from the top, but not actually giving a shit about the club as a whole, more just profit.
Surely, I mean, when it comes down to sports, in my opinion, for example, like, you have to be somewhat a fan of the club you run, right? So it's
I think so, personally.
So, for example, for a little bit of a weird example, I guess, it's like KSI being, like, KSI, obviously, his Prime brand, right, has now sponsored Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
He will dump money into that club if he thinks he's going to make a difference, right, because he supports the club. Yeah. And that's just as a brand deal. That's a brand deal. If you're going to own a club and tell me you don't care, then why do you own it?
I think the Germans do it the best in the Bundesliga, how they have the 51% rule.
Yeah.
So it's split equally, but the club, the fans will always have the final say in any outgoings, on like anything that happens within the club. The fans will always have the majority vote.
I mean, I will
That can
say
be,
it.
that can be tricky though.
That can be very
in-
detrimental, especially as a United fan, considering I think the Germans have a lot more passion within their system. I think the fans are a lot
Yeah.
more
The-
level-headed.
I was about to say,
They're not as fickle.
I'll
Yeah.
say they're a lot less delusional.
Yeah, it's like I'm not being funny. Ten Hag's been here for a year. He's won a trophy, but got probably the most points we've had in about fucking 10 years since, well, other than Mourinho.
Back in the
And
Champions League.
We're in the Champions League again, and yet I'm still seeing 6 games into the season, United fans on Twitter going, "Get Ten Hag out, he's shit." Brother, what the fuck are you basing this off?
It makes me laugh because when you guys obviously got in Ranić to caretake manager before Ten Hag, like in terms of the manager pool that was available, he was your best option completely. There was no doubt about it in my mind that if you were going to do anything, Ten Hag had to come and take control of that club, and to an extent he did. He steadied the ship. He got you a trophy. He got you back into the Champions League. I don't see what the problem is. Surely your Manchester United fans just need to have a bit of faith in the system.
It's the point we were saying before, right? For example, the whole heritage situation, where United fans haven't moved on for 10 years. They've not moved on. They still believe we should be the best club in the world winning trebles. And if we're not doing that, we're not good
It's
enough.
the manager's fault.
And it's the manager's fault. When the reality of it is, if you sit here and you pay attention to a 90 minutes, right, and you watch this fucking football team play, I think I actually watched a game with Jake last year, and I was fucking infuriated by the lack of effort. Now, I know the lack of effort, you can turn around and go, it's the manager's fault for not inspiring them enough, right? Delusional. Delusional, right?
I'm not being funny, but just the wage would fucking inspire me to run.
To wear the fucking badge
Same.
should be inspiring enough. Fuck the money, fuck everything else. You're a professional footballer. You play for the badge. End of story.
point.
The best player in my team at the current moment is Hannibal. That guy's work rate is phenomenal. And we're going way off topic here, I think, again. But anyway, the Glaciers, right? If they cared, they would inspire. Is my point, right? So,
To be fair, you say you were getting off topic. It runs all throughout the club.
Yeah.
If the hierarchy isn't, it's the same when we had Gillette and Hicks. If it's not good up top, it's not going to be good on the pitch.
yeah, exactly. I think it runs down from because you got to think as a footballer right now, right? As somebody as Hannibal, okay? The prime example is he's a young lad. He's just come into the starting 11. He's literally had 2 games in the starting 11, right? He's coming as a sub. He came on as a sub last year and just snapped people in half at 90 minutes. Which is what he did, right? You've got this young kid here now that is putting it all on the line for this badge, right? And I mean, the guy ran. I think there was a statistic out not long ago, and his work rate against Palace yesterday is the highest recorded mileage of a player in 10 years. Like, he's passionate, right? Like, he wants to fucking win. He's everywhere. The same way Amrabat was everywhere. The first 45 were Mount was everywhere, right? That level of passion, the flow, that can come down from the ownership. Because if you've got an owner that sat there going, right, let's fucking win. I'll give you everything you need to win. That's a confidence boost, right? It's an ego boost. It's like, okay, he's got confidence in me. He's bought me. He spent his money on me. I've got to perform now. But when you've got ownership that are sat in the back going, we just don't know how much to sell for, to be honest. It's not very inspiring, is it? Do you know what I mean? You've got ownership that really can't be asked for the club. They can't renovate the stadium, by the way, Old Trafford. I have been going there. I am 26 years old. I have been going since I was 3 years old. That place has not been touched since I was conceived. There has been no... I guarantee there's not even a lick of paint on it. And because Old Trafford, if you guys... I won't be... Obviously, like, Phil, you're the same age... You're, like, same age bracket as me, right? Jake, obviously, you're a bit younger. Old Trafford was like... Holy, this is amazing. Do you know what I mean?
It was the Holy Grail.
It was the
English
Holy
football,
Grail in
it was.
England, mate. If you played at Old Trafford, it was like playing at the fucking Bernabeu. Or playing at Camp Nou. It was, holy shit, this is amazing. And now we're like, The Etihad's it's all right. Anfield looks fucking clean now. What the fuck has happened in 10 years? They can't be arsed with us. They can't be arsed anymore. There's no investment anywhere. Probably the training facilities are probably still the same as when I was born. It won't be funny. I played at them. They're probably still the same as when I fucking played. Do you know what I mean? There's no investment. There's no progress. There's no nothing. They're useless. Fucking useless.
Well, let me ask you this, George. So the biggest thing with Manchester United at the minute is when Manchester United lose or don't perform in a game, right? Yeah, you get your obvious, your Maguire's shit, Casemiro's old, Ten Hag's bold. Do you know what I mean? Like
usual crap. Yeah.
Usual crap. But the biggest thing you always hear from a Manchester United perspective is we lost because it's the Glazers. Do you agree with that statement?
Judging by everything I've just said, yes. Based on that.
Okay, so you think no matter when Manchester United lose, it's always the Glazers' fault?
I don't necessarily blame them 100%, but I always think it's partly their fault.
Okay.
I think, as Jake said earlier, which was a very good example, it stems from the top, right?
It does.
So if your ownership can't even be asked to try, why are the players on the pitch going to? The reality of it is,
I do believe it can be a bit of a cop out though from United fans, like because they're not addressing the situation on the whole, like because you won't hear people say like, oh, Bruno had a shite game today, Rashford had a shit game today. Do you know what I mean? We were just poor on the day. It was like no, better team didn't win. It's just the Glazers' fault. Just Glazers.
Get the yellow and green flags out.
I mean,
get the scarves out.
It can feel like a bit of a cop out from me as a neutral fan, no stake in the whole situation. Do you know what I mean? Like it can feel like a bit of a cop out from United fans.
I think a lot of them do use it as a cop out. But take my sense for it in a sense of, I don't think it's just them. I think there's a level of professionalism that isn't being followed. Professional footballers should give it 100% on the pitch at all times.
Oh, I agree there completely.
Again, though, they lack confidence. Okay, well the manager should give it them. Again, the manager's now sat there going, well, I don't know where the fuck I stand in the transfer market. He probably can't really be fully asked either. Again, where does that stem from? Go further up. Then go further up, then go further up, then go further up. It all stems from the ownership not giving a fuck. Do I 100% blame them? No. Definitely not. I think, again, like you said, United fans definitely use it as a cop-out. But I can sit there and say every time we lose, even when we win, it's their fault. That's how it sounds stupid, right? It sounds fucking stupid, but there's still a problem. Do you get? There's still we can win. We could go to the Anfield right now. If we set off to Anfield right now, we could win 11-0. Yeah, I guarantee you'd still get chance of get the fucking Glaciers out.
Probably most
it's
likely.
Uncertainty. There's no communication from them. They don't give a shit about the fans because have they made one statement that's not been some bullshit Twitter statement where they've turned around and actually explained themselves? No, of course they fucking haven't because they just see numbers. That's all they see is just numbers. It's just numbers to them. So yeah, I do essentially blame the Glaciers, but then I also blame management. I also blame backgrounds. I blame the club, mate. The club is a problem. And
the club is
I will
rotten
say
from top to bottom.
it starts from the top, and then it rots down.
Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah.
Jake, anything else to add?
No, I think you asked the question I was going to ask. So,
Jord, anything else before we wrap this segment up?
No, but I think I should stop there.
All right then. Well, that's going to do it for segment 3, guys. Stick around for the final segment. Okay, and now to the 4th and final segment of the podcast. I've got a few questions for Jord about Manchester United, and then we're going to finish off with a bit of fun. I've got a little trivia for Jordan. He's going to have 5 minutes to answer 10 questions about Manchester United. So when we get to that, we'll see what his Manchester United knowledge is like. But straight out the gate, Jord.
Yes.
So, if you could pick one position you need to strengthen at this moment in time to make Manchester United a better team, what position would it be? And why?
Left back.
Left back. And why?
Well, Luke Shaw's injured. I think we need a backup anyway. I don't think Malacia is good enough. And Amrabat is way too good in midfield. That is...
Oh yeah, he's not a left back.
He should not be a left back. But, I mean, he was very good with it. He was very good against Palace. He was everywhere. But I think if he was in midfield, he'd control the midfield a lot better. And again, help Cassie, who needs help.
Yeah, he does. As much as how good Cassie is a great player, he's just
you can't do it. You can't do it in the best league in the world on your own.
No, definitely not. Okay, so next question. Your thoughts on Onana? Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about apparently Man United are already lining up a replacement for Onana, which I think is complete bollocks. It's just the media chatting crap. But what do you think?
He is the most consistent person I've ever seen in my life. I think
Okay.
I think as far as an upgrade from David De Gea, we were very stupid to think we were going to get that in certain elements. So shot stopping, we were never going to get anyone better than David De Gea. He was close to, if not the best shot stopper in the Prem before.
I think it was a weird one because other than the Champions League, Onana didn't really have too much to do last year. Like the Inter team was pretty solid. He didn't really have too much to do.
I think we went for a security buy, which wasn't really a security buy. Which I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know about Onana yet. I think it's way too early. I think he's made the Bayern mistake. I'm not gonna lie. Nearly snapped my desk in half. That was that was a question. That was a bad one.
It was a bad mistake.
He's made a few mistakes, but I think again we're doing this thing that United do, and we apply pressure to the moment anyone shows any bit of weakness, which is the worst thing you can do to a player.
Well, let me ask you this, following up on that. Do you think, because obviously at the time it looked like Bayern were just going to absolutely destroy you at that point, but obviously now we obviously know that mistake actually cost you a point at Bayern at the Allianz. So do you think if you would have just got pummeled, do you think it would have looked as bad, or do you think just because it was only a 1 goal?
No, I think the
mistake happened.
The attention comes down to the fact that we could have drew away in Germany, the Bayern Munich. So that one mistake cost us a point. So. The reality is, it meant nothing. It's in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really mean anything. I think we would have probably lost that game anyway.
I think as obviously a football fan, when your keeper makes a mistake, you always worry that's going to hit their confidence, and a second mistake is going to come, and a third, and the simple things are going to be a lot less simple.
I'm not going to lie, as a United fan, I sit there and I look at the fact we lost 4-3 in Germany, and I'm like, it's a good fucking game that. Disregard everything that happened in the match. We lost to Bayern Munich at home 4-3. And
and as a neutral, it was a fucking banger.
Absolute belting result. Let's see him at Old Trafford. That's my answer to that. I'm not going to pin blame on anybody. Mm-hmm. It's not Onana's fault. He made a mistake. End of story. Move on.
So, next question. Obviously, we spoke a little bit about Rashford having an amazing season last year. He hasn't really hit the heights yet this season. Do you think that's incoming? Do you think the way Man United are going, Rashford's going to hit those heights of 11 goals scored in games in a row sort of thing? Do you think he's going to start hitting those big numbers again for Manchester United that you obviously need at the minute?
No.
Even with the signing of Haaland, because a lot of Man United fans have said Haaland will be perfect for Rashford.
I don't know where fans have got this from. Yeah, I don't know, because for me, Rashford he's a winger, but he's a one-on-one winger. He doesn't create chances. It's Rashford's biggest problem. He does not create chances. He finishes them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With Højlund, I think he needs to get the ball in the 6-yard box more, and that's when he will hit the heights in my respect. If he starts scoring, then fair enough. But at the minute, he's not going to do that when he's supposed to be giving the chances to Højlund. So no, I don't think last year we depended on him. He was our strike force. That was he was him.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No, I don't think he'll hit the same numbers at all. Not even close. But he needs to create chances.
I think it was a weird one because obviously when you signed Haaland, everyone was like, "This is the mini Haaland sort of thing." And to be fair, when he came on against Arsenal, he did look a bit like a mini Haaland. He did the exact same things that Haaland does. He ran down defenders. He tried to be strong and hold the ball up and stuff like that. So I think there is a player there for Manchester United, but like you say, it's a case of your wingers like your Rashfords, they need to create now, not
It's a simple principle, right? You've got City, so let's say mini Haaland, okay? Let's compare him to Haaland. Haaland has Kevin De Bruyne behind him. He has Jack Grealish, and he has whoever the fuck plays on the right nowadays for City. I don't even know.
Bernardo Silva, Alvarez.
Yeah, whoever the fuck. Well, no, because Alvarez plays behind Haaland, doesn't he? He plays like a little bit on the drop back. But either way, he has people that get it into the 6-yard box, and Haaland is a born finisher. If you give him the ball 8 yards out, it's going in the back of the net. Other than that one chance I seen the other day where he absolutely fucking skied it to Rose Ed. That's the first time I've seen him make a mistake in a year and a bit. I think if Højlund can get the same service, I think he'll be more like an Ivan than a Haaland. he will get 20 goals a season. He will never reach the heights of fucking Haaland. Haaland is a
I don't think many strikers fucking will.
guy's
though.
an animal. Animal.
Bro's a robot.
He's an absolute
Thing
alien.
is, it's everyone said when going off topic a little bit. Everyone said when De Bruyne got injured, always Haaland gonna drop, and I questioned it a little bit. I thought it might cost him a few goals, but he's just carrying on like nothing's
Because
happened.
he's still got the 5-star service.
Well, this is it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
obviously, De Bruyne can give you a 5-star plus service. You know what I mean? Like,
De Bruyne can be 45 yards out away from the area, mate, and get it in the 18 on the penalty spot. I mean, it's what he
Genuinely, yeah.
does, man. But again, Jack Grealish, prime example. Not a very good winger, not very fast. Can beat a man every now and then. Gives the ball to Haaland though.
it's true.
And
It's
with
true,
Rashford's quality in comparison to Jack Grealish, because I'm sorry, they're not even close to comparable. Rashford is infinitely better as a player. If Rashford can
Listen,
get
I
it in
mean,
his head, he just needs to pass the fucking ball into the 8-yard box. And that's it. That's all he needs to do. But instead, Rashford likes
Yeah.
to step over, cut on his right, It's what he does. He doesn't just get it in with your left foot.
It's quite one-dimensional when it comes to that, isn't it? You
Yeah,
always
but
know
he's
what he's
very
gonna do when
fucking
he
good at the
gets in that.
one-dimensional. That's the problem.
It's hard to stop. It is hard to stop. Okay, so next question. I've had this conversation with quite a few people, and I'm interested to hear your take on it because I think this guy, in terms of just defending, I think is one of the best defenders in the world. Wan-Bissaka.
He is the best one-on-one defender in the world.
Thank you.
He is
You heard it.
one-on-one.
If you heard it here, guys. I wasn't chatting bollocks.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka, one-on-one, is the best right back in the game. End of story. There's no if but maybe. You can, as far as right backs are concerned, he's definitely not the best right back in the world. But as far as defensive, he is the best one-on-one defender in the world. Yeah.
I
I may
agree.
interject. I don't think people were questioning what you said, Phil. I think they were questioning when you had him in your team of the season.
I think he should have been up there.
But that's the thing. His job is to defend. I get that the natural wing back these days, like your Trent, your Davies, etc., have to go and create as well. But in terms of his primaric job, like a striker is to score goals, his job is to defend. And there is not many people in the Premier League that did it better than him last season when he got his chance. And there's still talk now about Wan-Bissaka needs to be replaced at Man United for them to improve. I disagree.
I massively disagree. He's the best one-on-one defender in the world. End of story. There's no if but maybe. He is with them spider legs. He's got the best right back as far as defensive goes. He can't get forward for shit, but he can defend.
No, not yeah. But I remember a few seasons ago I watched you guys against City when Sterling was there, and Sterling was on absolute fire, and he literally pickpocketed him the whole game. Literally the whole game, Sterling could not get past him, and Sterling was one of the best dribblers in the Premier League at the time.
It might sound a bit
And
random,
Wan-Bissaka
but
just
it was the same
pocketed
thing
him.
when we talked about Fred. Everyone was roasting Fred, saying he's shit, and then we played against City and had Kevin De Bruyne in the pocket. It's the same.
I liked Fred. I think he's a great signing. I wanted West Ham to sign him when I heard you were getting rid of him.
Yeah.
I think he's a great player. Still do.
Put it in there, mate.
All right. Well, that is all my questions. So we will finish off with the trivia. So I have 10 questions for Jordan to answer. We're going to give him 5 minutes on the clock. Jakey's going to time it. We will put a timer on the screen for you guys. So let's get 5 minutes on the clock.
Right. Go.
Okay, so first question, Jordan. Prior to wearing number 7, David Beckham wore which number at Manchester United? There are 2 answers. One will be acceptable.
David Beckham, he was 7. He wore these at United?
Yeah.
I think it was 10.
Correct. Okay, so question 2. Louis van Gaal mistakenly referred to which Manchester United player as Mike in a press conference?
Fucking hell. I ain't got a clue what the fuck.
I give you a clue. English
United.
English centre back.
Mike.
Yep. You can pass. We can come back to it.
Oh, is it fucking? Fuck. I know did he used to call Will Keane Michael?
It's not Will Keane.
I have no fucking idea, bro. That's mad.
Okay, the answer was Chris Smalling.
Okay.
All right. Which Brazilian twin brothers played for Manchester United?
Oh, fucking hell. Raphael and... That's one of the minutes, Raphael.
Yeah,
Fabio
yeah.
Fabio and Raphael.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. As of 2020, Manchester United hold the record for the most league titles in England. How many times have they been champions?
As of 2020?
Yeah.
What the fuck? As in Champions Leagues?
No, Premier League
Premier League?
titles.
Fuck.
Also counts like Division 1s when it wasn't the Premier League.
Oh.
You might as well just guess, bro. Your
13.
time's running out. Incorrect, 20.
What? Oh, it's Premier Leagues. Yeah.
Which player holds the record for most Man United goals?
Oh, I want to say Rooney.
Correct.
Okay.
Highest transfer fee ever received by Man United was 80 million in 2009 for which player?
80 million. Pogba.
This should be... no! Try again, I'll give you one more guess. This should be piss easy.
It should be. But is it Harry Maguire?
No, what? Received by
Received?
Man United. You sold this player.
Who the
In
fuck did we sell
2009,
for
80 million.
Ronaldo.
Thank
Oh my
you!
Oh my god.
Alright, this one's going to be a bit tough, but in what year was Old Trafford built?
You know what the sad part is? It's
What?
1910. It was actually February 19th. The fact that I know that and not the
Correct.
Ronaldo thing is mad.
Correct.
Anyway,
Correct, 1910. Okay, what is the nickname of Old Trafford?
nickname of Old Trafford.
Yes?
Oh no. Oh, it's a Theatre of Dreams.
Correct. Old Trafford is situated on what road?
Sir Matt Busby Way.
Correct. And finally, the 2003 Champions League final was held at Old Trafford. Which two teams played in it?
Juve, AC Milan.
Correct.
Wasn't that bad, that?
And that's it. How long do we have left, Jake?
56 seconds.
Oh, fucking hell. Could have got a couple more questions in then.
That wasn't that bad, that.
Not bad. How the hell did you not get the Ronaldo?
I don't know. I heard for some reason it didn't register that you said like received.
Received.
So I was like, who the
Yeah.
fuck? Because we've spent 80 million on like could name a few, but
Oh, God, yeah.
received. Shit. I didn't think we got that much for Ronaldo. I thought it was cheaper than that.
Yeah. No, 80
That was
million.
Ballon d'Or Ronaldo. That.
Oh,
Look.
man. I knew you were never going to get the one Louis Van Gaal mistakenly referred to as Mike
The-
at a press
the
conference.
worst part is, I swear I read something that he refers to Will Keane as Michael. And that's the only thing I could think of.
It was a fair guess.
It's fucking, I ain't got a fucking clue on that one. That's a balling, mate. That's so frustrating. My brain just started frying itself. I got that.
To be fair, it was quite difficult fucking reading them out quite fast as well.
I got
to be
that
fair.
warm. I think my fucking camera crashed.
I genuinely think though you got the harder ones right than the easy
Yeah,
ones.
like the old when Old Trafford built and stuff like that. I get it off the top of my head. I don't know why it's just stored in my stupid ass brain. But then like the easy ones, I'm like, wait. Like the goal scoring one,
Brilliant.
the top goal scoring one. I'm like, it's got to be Rooney. There's no other way. Wait, how many did Ronaldo score? Wait.
I thought you'd get the Brazilian twin ones, piece of piss, but you nearly flopped on that.
No,
but you got
my
it in
head,
the
my
end.
head went straight. For some reason, my head went Anderson. If you remember Anderson, I was like, no wait.
I do remember
I was like, there's no
Anderson.
way he's got a fucking twin. Because like, obviously, if they were any good in that sense, I would have known them straight away. Obviously, Raphael and Fabio weren't bad, but because they were both left back, right back,
Yeah.
weren't they?
They were,
Yeah.
yeah. Let me ask you this, Jake. How many of those questions would you have got right? Do you think?
Maybe 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Well, I'm a United fan. I'd probably get about 1 right for Liverpool. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that is going to wrap us up. That has been the Shots on Target podcast, the Manchester United special. Thank you so much to Jordan for joining us and giving us his honest opinion about his club. Really appreciate it, buddy.
No problem, brother.
We hope you guys have enjoyed it. Remember, if you have, to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, check out all our socials. It'll be down in the links below. We'll also drop Jordan's Twitter down in the description below as well if you want to go drop him a follow for joining us. Really appreciate it. And we will catch you in the next one, guys.
See you later, guys.
Cheers, guys.